Hello and welcome to Maths Moments Monday. Now, what is Maths Moments Monday? It is bite-sized maths PD by teachers and for teachers. Every week we get a new maths teacher to come in and show us something amazing that they're doing in their own classroom. Now, this is episode 4 and we are joined by the absolutely stupendous Nick Brooking. I am super excited about this one. They say that a student doesn't care what you know until they know that you care, and this, which is creating engaging questions using IT. When Nick explains this, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, take it away, Nick.
When I'm preparing my lessons, I try and make my questions, my examples, as engaging as possible. What I want is for students to be engaged, ready, wanting to know more every time we're about to move on to a new topic or a new activity. So what I've started to do is incorporating the students themselves into the lessons with just some quick, dirty, very simple Photoshop techniques. Nothing challenging. Don't even use Photoshop for it. I use PowerPoint. So to show you some examples, here we go. We've got some trigonometry examples here. So we're trying to find, my head's just covered the question, at what angle does the bullet leave the gun? And another one here. Now, I always, when I have a new class, initially use myself in the image to set up that culture in the classroom of this is the way we do things, and seek permission from the students initially if you're happy for me to use your image. I've never yet had a student not be comfortable with that, including teaching many cultures who have issues around shame or not being comfortable with their images being used. I've had no one not want it. Everyone really gets into it throughout the year. So let's have a look at how I actually do it. So I start with a question from a textbook, and then I decide if I want to keep the question exactly the same and just make an image to go with it, or do I want to jazz it up a bit, make it a bit more creative, a bit more engaging. So here's an example from year 12 methods, and I decided I wanted to make it a little bit more engaging, so I put my own spin on it, and I have a little bit of a dark sense of humour. And then I decide, well, what image do I want to use to represent this? So I go for a bit of a Google search. I decided for this, I'd like to have myself in a big hazmat suit. So I searched for an image of a hazmat suit. And of course, as teachers, we always include all the copyright image in details, don't we? Yes, of course we do. So I've got that there as well. Then I need myself, so I get image of myself. And now I'm going to come out of the slideshow just to show you how I actually do it. So I need my head to be much smaller, so I've clicked on it, I've gone up to the top corner here, got my little arrows, and I'm going to make my head much, much smaller, maybe about that size. But I just want my face, so I'm going to go up to Format, I'm going to go Remove Background, I'm going to click Area to remove because I don't want my neck, or my tie, so I'm just going to draw across those, and the very clever programming will do it all for me. This is why it's not me photoshopping, I'm getting the program to do it for me. That's close enough. I don't want it to be perfect, it's just meant to be a quick, fun, engaging thing. My head's going to need to be on an angle, so let's rotate that, and my head's going to go about there-ish. So I'm going to drop my head in place. I think it needs to be a little bit smaller, let's make it a bit smaller. Move it across a bit, there we go. Okay, it could look better than that though, so I'm going to use layering. I'm going to grab the original image because I want that to go on top, and I'm going to right click my original image and just going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it as an image again. And I want to remove this face so I can put the original face, so I can put the helmet on myself. So just as before, I'm going to go back up to Format, Remove Background, and I want areas to keep this time. So I'm going to want to keep the top of the helmet. I don't want the guy's face, so I'm going to click to remove that. I'm going to draw over his face. There's a bit more of his head there to remove. Let's remove his hair. A bit of his respirator mask there. Let's remove that. And let's move all that there. That might work. Let's have a look. I'm going to go Keep Changes. And now this layer is actually on top, so I can just drag it over and drop it in place about there-ish. And look at that. My face is now in the hazmat suit. If you play around with it and you find that it's actually not on top anymore or something's changed, if you right click you can bring to the front and it will pop it to the front. Just like that, but it is already to the front for this one. So that is how I make them. Very straightforward. What I find with that is that students love it. They queue up outside the room before the lesson, peeking in to see who's on the screen, what's going on today. They're coming into the room already engaged, already ready to go. They know there's going to be an entertaining image on the screen, a question for them to do. They come in, they get started. During the lesson, when we're about to move on to a new activity or a new topic, they start nudging each other. They want to know who it's going to be, what's going to be going on, what bizarre thing's going to be happening. For my Year 12s, at the end of their course, I actually present them with a booklet with all of these that we've done over the 2 years printed out. It's a nice leaving gift. They really appreciate it. But also, it's revision as well, because they start looking at it and going, oh yeah, that was when we did this topic. Oh yeah, that was when this happened. For me personally, why I love it, it makes point planning way more entertaining. It personalizes my lessons to the individual class, and an engaged class, which is what this really helps with, is a much easier class to teach. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a recap of how you can maybe use it in your lessons.